Post-war Berlin is probably one of the most interesting cities of the 20th century. As the Allies closed in on Hitler, the Russians got there first to Berlin. They took half the city for themselves and the surrounding countryside. The other half of the city was split between the US, French, and the British. Not because we wanted German territory. After the war, it was to keep an eye on the Soviets. Many spy novels have been written, and real stories about this place and time, because everybody was spying on each other. So there was a point where Allied tanks were standing off against Russian tanks at Checkpoint Charlie. And this is when, I believe it was Khrushchev, built a wall to separate the city, east from west. And Kennedy said, well, better a wall than a war. The Soviets had their own Manhattan Project, which took about as long as ours after the war. They had some help, of course, from spies and whatnot, but they did most of the work themselves. I mean, they still had to figure out most of the odds and ends of it. And they developed the hydrogen bomb relatively quickly, surprising us, which spurred on the arms race between the Soviets and us. And this is called the Cold War, which was, it did have shooting in it, but not nearly as much as a direct confrontation. Some pilots were shot down, like a spy pilot, Gary Powers in the U-2. And then there was Korea, where the Soviets were backing the North Koreans. And then you had Vietnam, where the Soviets were backing the North Vietnam. And our snipers were advised to not hit any of the Soviet advisors. And they spent so much money building bombs that Reagan was trying to keep up with them, or what he thought they had, and put them out of business. They went bankrupt. Partly due to that, Chernobyl had a part in that. Major catastrophe and expense with all of that. And the Soviet Union collapsed in the late 80s, and the Berlin Wall came down.